healthcare and essential service. GMOA controversy continues. Convener of the GMOA, Dr. Nalinda Herath, under police investigation. Colombo garbage dumped in Puttlam. Country's largest medical manufacturing plant declared open. Sri Lankan asylum seekers on Christmas Island sent back home. Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Gulasena. Let's start off with a look at the local stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena today declared open a medicinal drug production facility in the Pallekele area in Kandy today.
The factory is Sri Lanka's largest drug production facility and is expected to produce nearly 1,900 million tablets and capsules a year. Ministers Rajitha Senaratne and SP Navin were also present at the occasion. We have seen how people who are on their deathbed plead for 5 more minutes of life. However, these intellectuals of medicine science don't understand this. There is no humanness in the medical profession today. Most of the doctors focus only on how many patients they can get through the money that they can earn. However, there are some brave, heroic doctors as well. By 2020, we will be able to turn our health system into one of the best in the world. Even countries with better health systems have a higher mortality rate because they don't have free health services. We also hope to create hostels for all university students by the end of next year. We are also constructing a medical faculty for the Wayamba University. We will commence a medical faculty at the Sabrugama University as well as the Moroto University. Allocations have also been made to increase the number of medical students in Karapitiya from 130 to 300. At a time when we were taking steps to double the intake of medical students, they accuse us of attempt to privatize this education. I was also in the Inter-University Students Federation. I too served as its secretary, but back then we did not have squads that broke into places like this. We are spending money to resurrect free education, but they are attempting to teach us about free education.
The Government Medical Officers Association issued another warning to the government today.
On Saturday, we said that we are ready to trust the promise of the President and call off the strike. Today, we have to rethink our decision because of the media release issued by the Presidential Secretary. This is what we should discuss. The members of the GMOA are restless. They are calling us on to discuss all these developments and take a decision today. They are calling us to start a strike action once again. As a democratic organization, we have to respect the views of our members. PBR should reveal to us who included points which we did not reach an agreement on. Was it Minister Rajitha Senaratne? Because we believe that it was him. Because this is his stance.
We have received word that Rajitha Senaratne pleaded with the President and begged him to resolve this issue according to his way. However much you cry, we will not allow things to be settled the way you want it. We will not put the lives of the public at risk.
The GMOA statement is most amusing. The President granted the time for their meeting because the GMOA requested it through many different means. The President had said that this is a secret meeting and the GMOA had said yes. There is nothing in writing about this meeting. There are no photographs. The President questions as to how the GMOA after such a meeting issued statements. The President asked me why they stopped the strike without knowing the President's stance. This stance was taken by the previous government. The GMOA is not the government. Last week, the Minister of Higher Education and myself handed in a joint cabinet paper to the Cabinet Office. This will be taken up in Cabinet tomorrow. This was sent long before the GMOA meeting. The President's release reflects this as well. What they wanted to do was to say that we met the President just before their AGM. Their lies are blowing up in their faces and they are trying to unload them on me. If the President changes his stance when I speak to him, I must be the President. I am just a minister. They have political goals in the mind and dreams of political careers in their heart. They are dragging the doctors into this fight as well as the innocent university students. The people of this country will take action against these people very soon.
අපරාධයේ මේ ඉන්න ඉගෙන ගන්න දරුවන්වත් අමාරුවේ දාලා මේ කරන වැඩපිළිවෙලට හෙට දවසේ
Several trade unions conducted a joint media briefing today and addressed the controversy surrounding the GMOA.
ජනාධිපතිවරයා මේ කතා කරපු යෝජනා ඇතුලේ අලුතෙන් දෙයක් දීලක් නැහැ. බොහොම පැහැදිලිව මීට මාස 3.
The President has not agreed to anything new through these discussions. The Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education published a joint media release through the intervention of the President around 3 months ago, detailing almost everything. The outcome of the discussions between the President and the GMOA are the exact same thing. If someone is trying to put this among the general public in the wrong light and says that the government has cancelled its plans on private medical colleges, then the government has a right to come out and saw that it is wrong.
ඒක වැරදි කියන එක කියන්නත් රජයට වගකීමක් තියෙනවා. බලන්න මාසභා රැස්වීම.
We heard Dr. Padenia questioning journalists whether to dance or cry at the AGM. We have also conducted many AGMs. However, we have never had female dancers. We have never had alcohol. And we have never partied during these occasions. Don't degrade the name of doctors. Don't act like children or second-rate trade union leaders. What we see is an attempt to curtail our rights as well in the future.
Heads of the Government Medical Officers Association visited the arrested student activist at the Valikada prison today.
The police launched an investigation into a recent statement made by the editor of the GMOA, Dr. Nalina Herath.
All that is left for the students to do is take up arms. We warned the government that students are beginning to act violently, but the government did not listen.
Now I believe under these circumstances the government must not be hesitant to even decide whether that they should invoke the provision of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, where this statement could have been sufficient to remand this person until the conclusion of trial.
The statement that the only alternative is to take up arms is a very dangerous one in a democratic country. The people of this country have experienced and have been battered by individuals who have taken up arms.
They say that students should take up arms against a democratically elected government. This cannot be allowed to take place. If this is allowed to take place, it will be the death of democracy in the country. We firmly call on the officials to arrest this individual and produce him before court so that he can be sentenced to prison. We need to clearly state that he will have to take responsibility for his statements.
Civil activists have filed a complaint regarding the statement with the police headquarters, calling on the authorities to investigate the comments made.
The editor of the GMOA, Dr. Nalinda Herath, stated that there is no alternative for the students of this country other than to take up arms. This statement is something that directs students towards terrorism. If this government is not good enough, all that needs to be done is to change the government through an election. However, if someone is inciting students to become terrorists to create this change, then it is wrong. As a citizen of this country, I lodged a complaint with the IGP, calling on him to protect the democratic rights of the citizens and to punish individuals who are supporting terrorism. Police media spokesperson SP1 Gunasekara noted that necessary action with regard to the complaint will be taken tomorrow.
For the past 5 months, the educational activities of medical faculties in state universities around the island have come to a standstill. University students have been boycotting classes, calling on authorities to abolish private medical colleges.
The number of medical students currently studying at 8 medical faculties of state universities stands at 6,000. The students who began their boycott of classes on the 31st of January could be seen in a number of makeshift tents engaging in satyagrahas.
It has been 150 days since we began to boycott educational activities. We are prepared to continue this fight forward. There are satyagrahas being carried out opposite 6 state universities. The non-stop satyagraha campaign has passed 520 days and each day we are winning our fight to abolish Saitam.
Department heads of medical faculties note that even though lecturers turn up for educational activities as usual, the students don't attend classes. However, they refuse to openly express their views.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ පිටිපස්සේ තියෙන ජනතා මුදල් ජනතාවගේ බදු මුදල්.
What is behind all this is taxpayer money and the hard work of parents. The parents of these students have aspirations for their children's future, especially when it comes to things like medicine. When their education is delayed by a year, their registration also comes into question. I believe it is the responsibility of students to attend classes. If they are fighting for something, they should do so while continuing their studies. Professionals and students, instead of highlighting their own issues, become political pawns in someone else's struggle to gain power.
කිසියම් ආකාරයේ දේශපාලන ක්‍රියාත්මක වීම කරන අයගේ අතකොළු බවට පත්වීම තමයි මට පේන්නේ.
වෛද්‍ය විද්‍යාලවල අධ්‍යාපනය ලබන
Students receiving education and medical faculties should understand that by missing classes on one day they are wasting public funds, and who bears that cost? The innocent public. It is clear at this point of time that there is a small faction in the GMOA that is trying to gain the administration of the country into their control. The medical students should not be sacrificed for their cause. Your future is in your hands.
ප්‍රයත්නයට වෛද්‍ය ශිෂ්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යාවන් බිලි නොවිය යුතුයි. ඔබේ අනාගතය ඔබ අතේ.
බොහොම පැහැදිලිව GMO එකට මේ වෙලාවේ උමනා වෙලා තියෙනවා මේ නොමේරුණු මේ දේශපාලන.
The GMOA has a clear intention of using the university students to further their own goals. These students don't even have a voice of their own within the universities. The GMOA is attempting to use you to save their greedy ways. Political groups that manipulate you inside universities are the same people who don't allow you to express your own political views. Don't be fooled by this. Medical students know what kind of damage will be caused to them if their education is delayed by a year.
දෙකින් අඩු වුණොත් එහා මෙහා වුණොත් ඒකෙන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට වෙන පාඩුව පෞද්ගල.
Professor Thisavitharan expressed these views at a media briefing held today.
I am happy that the government took measures to resolve this by engaging in discussions with the GMOA. Since back then, whenever there is a general strike, the health did not get involved because it is considered as an essential service to the public. I told them, if you want to strike, conduct a token strike without causing any inconvenience to the patients, give prior notice and engage in a half-day strike in order to minimize the damage. By striking, doctors are exacting their revenge on helpless patients.
Muslims the world over celebrate Ramadan or Eid al-Fitr today.
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar and is observed by Muslims worldwide as a month of fasting to commemorate the first revelation of the Quran to Prophet Muhammad according to Islamic belief. This annual observance is regarded as one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Special religious observances were held all around the island today to mark the Ramadan. The main celebration to mark the festival of Ramadan was held at the Grand Mosque in Colombo. A special prayer session was also held at the Daftagah Mosque today. Leader of the National Unity Alliance, Asad Sali, was among those who participated in the prayer session. Muslims also gathered at Golfest Green and engaged in religious observances marking the celebration of Ramadan. Issuing a message, President Maithripala Sirisena says the rituals of Ramadan reminds us that humanity can be improved by being sensitive to their sentiments while being honest to yourself. The message adds that the message conveyed to the entire humanity through Eid al-Fitr celebration is universal in its manifest. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, issuing his message in line with the festival of Ramadan, says that Ramadan festival is celebrated by Muslims with a deep sense of fellowship and coexistence in countries throughout the world. The Premier adds that the fasting associated with Ramadan encourages mental and physical commitment to the faith and also enables families and communities to connect with one another and renew values sacred to Islam.
The return of Sri Lankans from Christmas Island to Colombo overnight on a government charter jet has fueled speculation that Australian Border Force has intercepted a suspected asylum vessel in the past week.
Christmas Island residents yesterday linked the deportations to an unusual spectacle last Thursday when two of the Navy's rigid inflatable vessels were seen towing a small boat close to the horizon. The last known intercept of an asylum vessel on its way to Australia was in March. The March monthly update on the department's website stated, quote, "During this period, Australian authorities worked with the government of Sri Lanka to return 25 people who were detected and intercepted attempting to reach Australia illegally by boat, in accordance with Australia's protection obligations," unquote. During the sustained wave of boats between 2008 and 2013, Christmas Island sometimes held more than 6,000 immigration detainees. Instead, the centre has become a place to hold mostly men who are citizens of other countries and have committed crimes while living in Australia. Once their jail term ends, they are transferred to immigration detention to await deportation.
We'll be heading into a short commercial break, but do stay tuned for more news on the other side of this.
Welcome back to the news. Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Patle Champika Ranawaka, says that a new program to manage the country's garbage will be implemented soon. The minister made this observation during a media briefing held today.
විශාල වශයෙන් හිරිගල් කඩලා සිමෙන්ති සංස්ථාවට ඒ හිරිගල් ප්‍රවාහනය කළා.
Limestones are being mined for the cement corporation. Those stones have been transported and the project of producing cement is now underway in Putlam. There are 3 to 4 main pits, while another new pit, which is larger than the others, is being made. Many pits are now in a dilapidated condition. While some are in good condition, around 1.4 million tons of limestone can be mined per annum. That means space of 1.4 million tons of limestone is left behind. If we consider that amount of garbage per annum, it is less than 1 billion tons. That means if we dump the entire country's garbage into limestone pits, it will not be filled. Limestone pits must be closed up once they are used. Then this would be a great industry. Limestone pits would be filled with garbage, then cover it with earth and let the jungle take over.
The minister also expressed these views.
We made a
request from Mahinda Rajapaksa after we proposed the Pinsaru project, but he did not implement it. Then we had to impose the cess tax on plastic. The money that was earned from this tax was not given to the treasury. It was the people within the law of fraternity that completely destroyed the plastic projects in the country. It was people like Sarath Silva. He gave an order when we were just starting to control plastic. He said it is the right of the people to use plastic bags. He interfered with the country's executive decisions and unsettled things. He was the one who proposed to dump garbage in Meethotamulla. Today, no one is talking about it.
The foundation stone for the 112th Yali Pibiden Udagammane in the Hambantota district was laid today under the auspices of Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa.
The village, which is being constructed in the Khatanwave area in Hambantota, has been named as Shivaraja village.
The former president is saying that the present regime is like an unmatched bride. However, he was unable to check on the horoscopes for his second term in office. We believed in the false predictions of astrologers' predictions and decided to hold a presidential election. As a result, he had to go home, losing the presidency. The former president also says that at present the country is a police state. I guess he has forgotten that it was during his regime that Lasantha Vikramatunga was killed, Eknaligoda went missing, that it was during his time that people of Ratupaswala were treated with the T-56 when they asked for water. This was the only government in the country that people were battered with guns when they asked for water. So the next time when he is talking about a police state, shouldn't he go before the mirror and reminisce about what he did? Staying in local news, Minister of Foreign Affairs Ravi Karunanika called on the chief prelates of the Malvathu and Asgiri chapters today.
The minister who arrived in Kandy paid homage to the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic and obtained blessings. He then called on the chief prelate of the Yaskiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakaguda Sri Gnanaratana Thera. Minister Karunanayaka also arrived at the Mallatu Viharya and called on the chief prelate of the Mallatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibetuwave Sri Sumangala Thera.
Sri Lanka is developed now. The world accepts our country. We have to work towards further developing this. That is what is needed. We will not work according to the whims and fancies of NGOs. We will work according to the needs of the people. I think all this is happening because there is too much democracy. Until we get used to it, there will be oscillations. The policy of the Foreign Ministry has been discussed with the President and the Prime Minister. Similar to the support you rendered while at the Ministry of Finance, we hope that you will advise now as well. If we are going on the correct path, there is no issue. If we are going down a wrong path, we need support to correct that path.
The
minister expressed these views to the media following the meeting.
So, විශේෂයෙන්ම මහානායකයන් සඳහන් කළ විදේශ සේවය සඳහා තානාපති සේවය කියන්නේ විධිමත් කරන්න කියලා. පෙන්ෂන් කියපු අය නැතුව තවම පිරිස් දාන්න කියලා සර්ගේ අදහස.
ඒක හරි මම සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අනුමත කරනවා අප තානාපති.
That is correct. I completely agree. We do not send heads of missions for vacations to these countries. We need programs that can reap maximum benefits to the country using the taxpayer money.
ඔබතුමාගේ බොහොම හිතවතා බන්තල ගුණවර්ධන මැතිතුමා ඊයේ මාධ්‍ය සාකච්ඡාවක් කියලා ඔබතුමා දැඩි විවේචනය කරනවා. ලොතරැයි මණ්ඩලය ගැන ලොතරැයි කරන්නේ කිරීම ගැන ඔන්ලයින් ලොතරැයි ගැන මොකක්ද කියන්නේ?
මට
I do not want to waste my time responding to such persons. He tried to feed the people with 2,500 rupees. He distorted my name in Parliament. He said he had changed it back in 5 minutes. He went to the Presidential Commission and apologized regarding the bonds. He accepted the mistake after lying. Do you have to talk about these people too?
බලපත්‍රය දීපියලද ඇත්තටම ඔබතුමා මුදල් නැමැති කාලේ සිදුවන සිද්ධියක් ඒක සිදු වුණේ කොයි ආකාරයකද
මම හිතන්නේ ඒක ඒ ඉල්ලපු ආකාරය.
They are investigating how the request came forward and how it was approved. There was an excess of rice in 2015. It was to be converted into biofuel. The term ethanol is being used by the media. There is no approval to produce ethanol. This is something created by the media. Commissions have been appointed to everything, so this will be revealed as well.
අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් අනේ ඔයා වැඩි කල් යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා හැම එකරම කොමිෂන් දාලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තුලින් බලන්න පුළුවන්.
Though the minister levelled accusations against the media in this manner, various parties, including representatives of the United National Party, point out that what is being built in Calcutta is an alcohol distillery. The Sunday Times, quoting the Presidential Task Force on Drug Prevention yesterday, reported under its main headline that the director of the task force had requested for a reply from the secretary to the Ministry of Finance regarding the license granted to the alcohol distillery in Calcutta.
This is an ethanol factory. What happens here is producing ethanol and it is transported to Colombo. They need paddy and corn to produce ethanol.
The paddy that was stored in Mattala has also been given to the Mendis organization to produce arak. They rob the money from the poor people and use it to build alcohol distilleries. The provincial council has not given permission, neither has the cabinet. The minister is unaware. The investment board has not given approval either.
We are against the use of matters mentioned in budget documents for the promotion of alcohol. Tax concession were granted to the North and Eastern province for development of provinces and for the generation of employment opportunities, but they were not given to build alcohol distilleries.
Well, that's all the news we have for you for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jitendra Sena.
And I'm Shred Silva. Take care and good night.